Welcome to Road to Ownership. My name is Wes. We call this segment the Call to Ownership because all we're doing here is going from state to state, from big cities to big cities, calling some families out of renting to ownership, out of rentalship, which is our new word here, to ownership. We believe that folks remain renting for years and years and years. Sometimes it's not because they cannot buy a house economically, it's because of some mental or psychological reason why they're still renting and not buying a house. Our vision is to increase the rate of homeownership, mainly among minorities that are renting for a long period of time. And sometimes this behavior of renting and not owning travel from generation to generation. And our work here is try to help folks get out of renting to ownership. Now, before we go to the state of Oregon, which is the state we're going to cover today, I want to ask you for a quick favor. Please take 1 second and subscribe to this channel. It will be greatly appreciated. The state of Oregon is not a state that I've been to. I've never been to the state of Oregon. And the population of the state of Oregon is not that much. So I think maybe just a few people will be able to see this video from the state of Oregon. And my intention is to find one person, just one person from the state of Oregon who's been renting for many years, who want to actually eventually buy a house. I'm looking for that one person. And my intention here would have been accomplished. The state of Oregon is the 27th most populous state. Its population is just above 4 million people. The homeownership rate in the state is 62.5% compared to 65.6%. That's the national average. Like I always say, in my opinion, at least 80% of the population should own their own home. So 65% is not enough in my books. Now, in Oregon, even though it's above 60%, for blacks and African Americans, the homeownership rate in Oregon is only 35%. The majority of the folks are renting. They are working hard and giving away the largest portion of the income in the form of rent. The average price of a house in the state of Oregon is $447,000, which is fairly higher than the national average, which is $374,000. Now, the unemployment rate in the state of Oregon is 5.6%, is 32nd in the list. So the unemployment rate there is not the best, but it's also not the worst. Unemployment rate is important for homeownership because you cannot own a home if you don't have a job. Now, one thing I can tell you, when it comes to home ownership, there are some factors that are important. Okay, folks, this is my message here. This is the time for the call. We call this segment the Call to Ownership because we're going to call people out. If you own a home in the state of Oregon, this video is not for you. I'm here to speak to the folks that does not have a house, especially those folks whose grandparents did not own a house. Their parents did not own a house. And they do not own a house. If you don't own a house, I'm talking to you. But if you have been watching generations in your family renting, I'm talking to you especially. Home ownership is one of the easiest way for people to participate in the economy, to participate in the economy of this country. It's the easiest way. And to leave home ownership out of your path is a big, big mistake. Let me tell you this. If you are in the state of Oregon, you've been working for 5 years, full-time job, you don't have a serious health problem, you're not in school, you are not saving during those 5 years to get married, you've been paying that rent for those 5 years, something is wrong. You did something wrong. Now, if the job you have is not, you're not making enough to buy a house in the state of Oregon, maybe you need to think about moving to a different place, moving to a place where home ownership houses are more affordable. Okay, if your friends in the state of Oregon that are surrounding you, they're all renting and they're not going anywhere, you need to move to a place where you can make new friends that can influence you to have your own house. If the area where you live is too expensive for you to own a house, it's time to move. It's time to go to a place where you can own a house. If you are watching this video today, it's not by accident. It's because it was meant to be. The call today has arrived in your house, in your family. So I want you to tell your children, to tell your parents, to tell your husband and your wife that your family has been called out of renting to ownership. Okay? I understand. It might be very difficult for you because I don't know your situation. It might be hard for you and you don't see how that's even possible. Okay? All I want you to do is to get in the journey. Okay? Go to the local bank, open a bank account, give the bank account a name, call it housing fund. Tell your children, maybe you will die, one day, and your children will go and accomplish this vision of becoming an owner. This call is for you. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're black, white, or yellow. If you're watching this video and you meet this criteria, you live in the state of Oregon, you've been renting for 5 years, you've been working full-time for 5 years, and you're still renting, this call is for you. I'm calling you out of rentalship to ownership, okay? Put this new word in your vocabulary. Rentalship is not for you anymore. Out of rentalship to ownership. This was your call today. And I want you to go and do something about it, because it's not by chance you're watching this video. It was meant for you. This is our show for today. Thank you.